Hoyas, come out and play. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Dave. Welcome to Roy District. Today, I want to revisit my Hoya collection. So, I did pose the question, are Hoyas boring? Obviously not, because Hoyas have been trending all over again. I mean, I look online and I see new Hoyas that have hit the market. I've seen people displaying Hoyas in new ways, you know. So in this video, I got a lot of cool things going on, okay? I want to show you my collection. I want to show you how to display, or show you how I display my Hoyas. I want to show you what Hoyas I have on my wish list. You know, and then at the end of this video, I want you to decide, do you think Hoyas are boring? You know, so let's jump straight into it. All right, first, let me show you some Hoyas that I have growing outdoors. This is a Hoya Abovada. I had to wash this, I had to wash it off because it was so dusty. I don't know what's living on the inside of this. I have this hanging on my gazebo tent out there in the backyard. And it's been taking a little bit of a beating because the temperature has been dropping below 40 degrees overnight. So that's why you can see, some, can I find, there we go. Some red, you can see a little bit of sun stressing on these leaves because of the cold weather. But other than that, it's going crazy out there. As you can see, it's overgrowing this pot. And this is a hanging pot, by the way, but it's starting to engulf it. And let me just give y'all a disclaimer. I know this is an aeroid channel, but I do like my cactus, succulents, and Hoyas. I mention that because hopefully Hoya enthusiasts don't get offended by the way that I care for some of my Hoyas. I'm really not into Hoya blooms. I can care less. I'm more so into the foliage. If my Hoya doesn't bloom, I probably wouldn't care. So I have a couple years experience with various Hoyas. So, you know, when it comes to my care, I'm just showing you what I do. You don't have to follow exactly what I do because I don't, you know, consider myself any type of Hoya expert, you know, and I don't want to offend any of you Hoya enthusiasts out there, okay? So I'm just displaying what I do, and I'm gonna keep doing what I do because it works for me. But yeah, Hoya Abovada, going crazy. This one is an outdoor Hoya. It's nice and rugged, it's getting all big. And another one that I have growing outdoors is the Hoya Carnosa Compacta. I have this one sitting on my patio table back there under a tent because I don't want it to get rained on. It's been raining a lot here, so this one gets protection from the rain, and it gets, you know, some pretty good light, and it grows fast. You know, I've always expected the compactas to grow slow. When I first got this one last year, it was barely hanging out the pot. Look at it now, got all these long dreadlocks. And I think it bloomed. I see you can see that peduncle right here. And whatever bloomed off of that, it blasted and dropped off. But, so I missed that. I wasn't able to see the bloom. But this one has bloomed a couple times before. And it does have a smell like, what did it smell like? It smelled like a perfumey chocolate. You know, it's almost smelled like, I think in my last video, I said it smelled like church lady perfume. A little bit like that, but then it's like, you can kind of, on the second one, I kind of smelled a little bit of chocolate also. But yeah, it was like a whitish pink bloom or something like that. Like I said, I'm not very into the blooms. I think that's just the extra plus. But overall, I'm into this foliage. Look at that. Now this one is the same Hoya Compacta, but it's the variegated version. I got this one for my birthday a couple months ago. And it's, let me see, new growth. That's the thing about the compactors. You can't tell. You can't tell when it's growing. I know it's longer than when I first got it, but you just can't really tell when it grows. That's probably why some people say that they grow slow, is because you don't really notice the new growth. But I think these new pink leaves at the bottom are the new, the new growth there. Well, come on, look at that. This looks pretty cool. I really do like this variegated version. So my thing is, I know it's common, but I'm still wilding out. Like this growth pattern and the way it just curls and comes down like a rope. That is something cool to look at. And the fact that the care is not strenuous, you ain't got to do nothing crazy. You could almost put this one anywhere. What's going on? Those of you who think Hoyas are boring, how? This is a Hoya Collection. I have some history with this plant. I've had it for, I would say, about 3 years. And one cool thing that I can mention about this Hoya is that it will go dormant. If I leave this plant dry for about, if I go past, a couple weeks of leaving it dry, it will go dormant and it will not grow. But the cool thing about that is once it comes out of that dormancy, it will just put out 7 or 8 growth points all at the same time. That's the cool thing. It does like to have like a nice little rest period, and then it'll just start growing crazy when it gets ready to. And this has kind of like a reptilian pattern. That's the thing about the Collection is that it does put out very striking veins. So if you want to do something with that as far as design, especially like for interior decor or whatnot, with these type of prominent veins, there's a lot that you can do with that. And I really like this one. I mentioned that I had this one for a few years already. I have propagated this plant about 4 or 5 times as well. So these are cuttings, and I have some other cuttings of this same plant. This is a propagation that I have in my bathroom. I leave this in my bathroom and I do not water it. I do not water it. I water it very sporadically. But the thing about it is, I guess it got stressed out from not having water, and it put out a dunk. Can y'all see that right there? It got a dunk. It got a dunk. Hey, it got a dunk. Yeah. So it put out a peduncle. I guess that's what they call this little growth point. This is where the flower blooms come from. And yeah, we'll see if this one blooms. I think that'll be the first time that this one blooms if this peduncle doesn't blast and give up. This one here is the Hoya Caudata Splash. This is one of the more masculine looking Hoyas. It has like a jagged edge leaf with the splash pattern on it. The new leaves do come out with like a very bright burgundy or purple color onto them. And then, if the light is low, it'll fade down to this green and it'll show off the splash a lot more, But I really do like this Hoya just because of the rugged look that it has, This one is Hoya latifolia. Look at that. They also call this one the dinner plate Hoya. It grows quite fast, I must say, and it is thirsty. I water this one and it dries out very quickly. When it comes to the potting media, I use cocoa chunk and sphagnum moss primarily. I will put in leca, perlite, other type of rocks that I have on hand, but that's not as important as the base of the mix, which is the cocoa chunk and the sphagnum moss. My whole goal with that is to be able to have a moist, soilless media, and it'll stay moist for quite some time while still having a lot of aeration. And this chunky, cocoa coir with the sphagnum moss is, I'm able to achieve that. But this thing grows so fast. But let me tell y'all something cool about this Hoya latifolia. Y'all remember I had this one under like some strong Sansi LED lights, and this was the growth. They sun stress real easily with that LED light. You could probably guess what happened once I moved this to lower light. You know, I got the new plant room and I put this in a lower light situation, so it was getting like medium light, and all of the new growth started to just get huge with the medium light. This is the new growth that I got once it was in medium light. That's crazy, right? And you can clearly see the difference because this is strong LED lights down here, which is nice because it was like very red and you can see the details in the leaves. Let me see. All of this back here was under the LED lights, but soon as I pulled it back and it was in like medium light, we started getting much bigger leaves. And this one right here is just massive. It's not even finished expanding yet. So yeah, I definitely see why they call this the dinner plate Hoya. Hoya latifolia. So this one here is the Hoya SP Borneo. I got this one not too long ago. This is one of the new purchases. It's doing just fine. It's a little bit weird to me. I actually imported this one from Indonesia, and it was very red in color. But when I propagated, I cut it up quite a bit, gave some of the cuttings away. This is what I have left over. It kind of went back to a green color, but you can kind of still see some red blush on there, and maybe on this leaf as well. But it's a SP Borneo. I really like this one. It gets a lot of like splashing and weird things going on with this one. That's the reason why I got it. The next one, I cannot tell you the name of this, but I have it in this ice cream container. I'll put the name on the screen. This one is kind of cool because this one brings a little bit of something different. It's really dark with like these lime green specks splashing on it. You know, it's not a silver splash. It's like a lime green splash on there, you know. And I have this one in like an ice cream container, and the roots are just going crazy in there. This is drainless, you know. But yeah, this one is pretty cool. Y'all already know what time it is when it comes to this one. It's the Hoya Approvata variegated splash. This thing grows like crazy. Yeah, this one, it grows crazy. You have to trellis this one unless you just want the vine to just hang down to the floor. But this is just putting out multiple leaves all at once. A lot of different growth points. Let's see. I have a new growth point starting to happen right here. So that'll be a whole new vine. It already branched off right here. As you can see, 2 vines coming out of this one. Let's see. And I know there's another one going on. There's a lot going on with this one. It just grows really well for me. And, it's enjoyable seeing this one just fill out this whole trellis, you know. So Hoya Approvata variegated. All right, so the one thing about Hoyas is that you can make an impact by the way that you set them up, whether it be big and you have a whole jungle look, or whether it's something small with just a few leaves. You know, you can still make an impact. It could be a whole vibe. A lot of these small ones, you can make a whole little situation with them, depending on the way that you display them, you know. So what I want to do right now is show you some photos of some of my Instagram friends who sent me pictures of how they set their Hoyas up, how they display them. So hopefully you enjoy this and you get some ideas. And what I want to do right after that is continue on with my collection and show you how I set some of my Hoyas up as far as displaying them. right, so let's get up and personal with this Hoya tree that I made. This is one of the ways I decided to display my Hoyas. As far as constructing something like this, I pretty much found this stick at the park when I was walking my dog. I sat the stick inside of a terracotta pot, then I poured in some thick concrete mix so that it can set. And once it was, able to stand upright on its own, I drilled in some little holes and put these type of, these little U-hooks, screwed those inside of the holes that I drilled. And then, I was able to hook on the plastic cups that I potted my Hoyas in. And that's how you get, something like this. So taking it from the top, this is not connected to the tree. This is my Hoya polyneura. And, it has these little sticks shooting out. So I just sat that right there, and it seems to like to chill like that. Moving around to the side, we have my New Guinea Ghost. Now, this is one of my new favorites right here. I did not get this one too long ago. It only had about 3 leaves. And just within a month or close to 2 months, it grew all of this. Check out these leaves. Like, look, they are reflective. You would think, when you're looking at it in person, you would think that it's velvet, but then when you touch it, it's really not. It just reflects in the light. It has like a shimmer to it. So that's why I like this one. This is Hoya Germany. I don't know much about this one. I like it because it's one of the big veiny Hoyas. I like the rugged look on some of these Hoyas. It looks, prehistoric. Yeah, it's called a Hoya Germany. It's not from Germany, but that's pretty much all I know. But it put out this new leaf here. All right, so next we have the Hoya Obscura. This one just grows like crazy. It grows fast, I'm telling you. But I mean, you notice that none of these Hoyas are sun stressed because I put this whole tree in low light. It's getting like some ambient light from the LEDs and a little bit from the window. But come spring, summertime, the sun is going to be hitting this window, where this is placed at pretty strongly. And we might start seeing some sun stressing on some of these Hoyas that are on this tree because the sun will shift within a couple months. But yeah, this is the Hoya Obscura. Grows really fast and it sun stresses to like, a pretty good red. I think you can see some leftover sun stressing from when I had it under LEDs. But it makes a very good contrast when you sun stress this one. Everybody knows the Hoya Sunrise. That one is very red. It's sun stressed. Hoya Obscura is the mother plant of the Sunrise. They took the Obscura and the Rebecca and crossed that to make the Sunrise. So that's the reason why, this one turns red. It's related to the Sunrise. Down here we have the Cell Block 8. I don't know what this one is called. I'll put the name up. But put out this new leaf. And it's starting to go crazy. Like it threw out this vine and the vine started to follow the tree all the way up. I'm pretty sure in no time it will like make it to the top of this tree. And I'm gonna just let it do its thing up until I decide to cut it. So last I have the Hoya Crassiopetalata Splash. Everybody seems to like this one. Everybody likes the Crassiopetalata Splash. It does grow fast. I do like it. I recently propagated it. I cut it right here, and I have a lot of these propagating right now. And they do just fine propagating, so I'll have quite a few of those. So yeah, that's just, one of the ways I decided to display the Hoyas. I can fit about 10 of them on here, if I really wanted to. and it just saves space. That's one of the perks about making something like this. This does not have a large footprint, and you can get 10 Hoyas hooked onto there and save space, and it has like a cool little look. So a lot of people use these type of little trellis. It's like circular trellis, metal, but powder coated. And I actually really like these. Like, they make a lot of sense. Sometimes you just don't want nothing crazy going on, but the simple one where you can, you know, when these Hoyas start to put out these long vines, you can just simply clamp it down to a trellis like this. Highly recommend these for display and, you know, just being able to maintain your Hoya. I have this Hoya Obscura here set up on one of these. This thing grows like crazy and it grows a long vine. So I'm pretty sure before you know it, it'll take over this whole trellis. Let's talk about space. I do not like to give my Hoyas a lot of space as far as the pot, because it's weird, but I'm very observant, okay? And I noticed that if I put a Hoya in a bigger pot, it will stop growing. It'll just stay how it is for like a long time, and it's what it's trying to do probably is trying to fill up that pot with the roots, because I find that Hoyas like to be snug inside of the pot. So I can show you examples of Hoyas that I put in a very small container and then they start growing faster, rather than the ones in like a big container with a lot of space. So these two are examples of Hoyas that I gave too much space and they grow very slowly. This is the Hoya Incrusata Albo, and I put it in this big pot and it grew slowly. I cut a piece off and put that propagation in a smaller container, and it just grew a long vine, and I sold that one. But the mother plant has all this space, and it puts out a leaf like once every, I don't know how many months. It grows very slow. Same with this Hoya Abovada Splash. As you can see, the other one that I have grows like crazy. This one, I started it out in this big container, so it grows quite slow. When I keep them in like a smaller container like this, once the roots kind of fill out the pot, it puts out leaves like crazy. It just got new leaves along that vine. They put out blooms and everything, if you know, when you keep them kind of snug, you know. And that's just my experience. I don't know any scientifics behind that, but I do know that these Hoyas are epiphytes and they grow inside the little crevice of the tree. So that's probably why they do well when they're kind of packed in, you know, and potted in a smaller container. They grow faster from my observation. But going back to the whole trellis setup, this is my Hoya Clemensorium that I have growing around this trellis. And I set it up in a small concrete looking pot. And y'all know I like fiberglass, so I put like some black fiberglass on there. And I feel like this is a cool display, you know, especially once it grows around. I think that's gonna look, you know, have a little designer appeal to it, with the sleek pot, a little bit of fiberglass, and these rugged leaves here. So tell me, do you like the whole circle trellis look? So this is something very small. These are Hoya Thomsonii cuttings here. So I found this ball of twigs in the garage. And I figured I'd do something with this. Let's see. I just sat this in the middle and put these little vines over the top of it as a trellis. And I'll just decide to display this Hoya Thomsonii just like that. You know, it got a little all natural feel to it. You don't like it? No? I actually like it. The way that this natural stone with the little brown twigs, it kind of got a little vibe to it. And I just display this one like this, and I just sit it by the window, and boom, you got a small Hoya with a cool little display that's quite interesting, I must say. Hoya Rincei Borneo. This one I put in a, concrete looking pot, and I use my fire glass once again. I like the way the fire glass bounces off, either the sunlight or the LED light. Looks pretty cool. And this is just one leaf cutting that I just recently got. And this Hoya is actually pretty dope. It puts out this purple color with inside the green, and it has like the lime green veins to it. So I'm excited for how this one will, grow out. But this is a cool little setup for this one, I think. Kind of complements it, being that it's only one leaf. I don't want this one just sitting in a plastic cup just because I like it so much, And then I have this Hoya Undulata Red. This one actually gets a lot of red when it comes to the sun stress. It even gets a lot of red on the back. You probably can't see it now because it's been in, low light. But, this is something small, and I like the way it's set up in this green colored concrete pot. It's actually ceramic, but it has a concrete look to it. So these are, pretty cool little ways to set these up. And I've always heard that this one is a hard Hoya to care for, but it's not. It's easy. You just water it as soon as it's dry. And I think the type of mix that I keep it in, as you can see, sphagnum moss and bark. That's all I do. Nothing crazy. It doesn't need to be in super high humidity. I have this one in about 50 to 60%, and it put out these 2 new leaves since I've gotten it. So Hoya Undulata Red. This used to be a Wishlist Hoya, and now I got it. All right, so that's all I'm gonna show y'all right now when it comes to my collection. But when it comes to my wish list, I definitely want to get the Hoya Bretonii variegated. That's on my list. Hopefully I'll be getting that soon. Next is the Hoya Argentea. I know a lot of y'all seen that one. That one is pretty cool. Last but not least, I need to get the Hoya Carrii. I think it's called NS13064 or something like that. That Hoya is the best looking Hoya. It's like a velvet leaf Hoya. It's like a true velvet leaf Hoya. It looks like a little anthurium growing on a vine. Like, how cool is that? But when I tell you, that one has started to come on the market lately. I've seen them on Etsy for about 150 to 190. I ain't paying that. Not gonna happen. I'll wait for it to come down. I'll wait for more people to get that one. And I will be getting that Hoya Carrii for sure. So yeah, hopefully you can clearly see that Hoyas are not boring, at least in my opinion. Get creative in the way that you set these Hoyas up. Set them up in your own special way, and they don't always have to be enclosed. They don't always have to be in a grow tent. I like grow tents, but sometimes you can just display your Hoya in a different way. Sit it by the window and sip your damn coffee, It ain't that serious. I mean, a lot of people will lead on to make you believe that Hoyas are harder to care for than they really are. I don't find that to be true in my experience. So that's just what I wanted to put out there. These Hoyas are easy. They don't need a lot of space, and you can display them in creative ways. So that's all I got for y'all. Thank you everybody who sent me in pictures so I can get some ideas for this video. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. I'm out.